One, 130 or 330? Oh, set 38.
Awesome. You make this look good. 100% hilarious. Because of you. Expected. Chase. Securing the strip now. We're losing the lead.
Don't worry, Sky. You're safe now. But where could Chase be? He needs our help.
Chase.
You have to be brave. Go get help.
Did you notice these things in Spider-Verse movies? When Miles first sees the Spider-Man costume, he couldn't fit in it because he wasn't ready to take on the responsibility. But later on, when he was ready, he fit perfectly. And inside the Spider Society, Miles never actually becomes one of them. He doesn't have a watch like the others. His symbol never shows up on their displays. And he's literally being hunted through the halls of the place he wanted to belong in. When the spot tries showing Miles his origin on the whiteboard, one of his goofy sketches literally shows Miles falling through portals into other dimensions. Almost exactly what happens later. Back in Miles' room, when Gwen first hugs him, he briefly pauses. And Gwen knows she shouldn't have hugged him because she knew that in every other dimension, Gwen and Spider-Man's story doesn't end well. Miles first jumps off the building. The leap of faith shot is actually flipped upside down.
After finishing the bedroom and bathroom, I realized the kitchen had to be next. My grandma has chronic bronchitis, and every time she cooked, the whole room filled with smoke. No ventilation. Soot falling from the ceiling. Leaky tanks, cabinets, barely holding together after decades of patchwork. It was dark, outdated, and honestly, unsafe. When I suggested renovating it, they both refused. Said they were too old. Said it wasn't worth the money. But I'd already decided. I cleared off the clutter, tore out the broken cabinet, and demolished the old stove and chimney. My grandpa quietly joined me, and together we hauled everything out and measured the space, about 270 square feet. Bigger than I expected. The kitchen was so dark during the day you needed a light on, so I enlarged the window to bring in natural light. By sunset, the stove frame was done. That night, I reinforced the countertop with rebar and concrete so it would last for years. The next day, materials had to be carried in by hand because the road is too narrow for delivery trucks. I tiled the stove, built a proper sink area, and finished the countertop with darker tile, easier for Grandma to keep clean. Then we leveled the floor for new concrete. Rain almost ruined it, but we poured and finished just in time. After it cured, I rebuilt the ceiling. The beams were barely 6 feet high and installed bright PVC panels to open up the space. And finally, the most important upgrade, a real exhaust fan. No more smoke, no more coughing. We painted the walls bright white, brought in the refrigerator, and cooked the first meal in a kitchen that finally felt safe. Now it's clean, bright, breathable. And this time, they don't have to take care of themselves anymore. I've got them. After
Here are three of the craziest. Today I'm going to the junkyard for a very specific reason. Usually I'll come here when I'm bored or when times get rough. But last week I came across this 1984 Toyota pickup with a bed that could be worth a lot of money. It has some things here and there, but if I restore it, it could easily sell for over $1,200. Removing the truck bed is one of those things that looks hard at first, but is really simple if it's done in the right order. After removing the filler neck, the tow lights can be removed, and this isn't necessarily a mandatory step, but the junkyard will find a way to charge you for every and anything that can be sold separately. So it's better to remove any unneeded part dark to avoid running up the bill. Luckily, while removing the lights and filtering, the bolts underneath were being unscrewed. So in about 20 minutes, the bed was able to be lifted and moved to an area where the loader could come grab it. In the meantime, there was a few more things I needed to take off, and the most important was the rear glass. Collectors pay a premium for these kind of windshields, especially when they come with a sliding windows. It wasn't something I was planning on taking, but money talks when the numbers make sense. And at the time, after pulling a few more things, the loader came over to carry the bed over to the front end. One thing I didn't know is that you're supposed to take the small stuff to the register first before backing up the truck for them to load you. The easiest way I found to do this is by laying two 2x4s across the way to have them set the bed on top and belly up. From there, it can then be strapped down from the inside hooks and secured like a pig on a hog roast. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to keep the bed for myself or fix it up and sell it, but at least I get to decide. Today I'm going.
The man pulls the sand and gravel with his own vessel. He washes the sand and gravel until it's clean. He picks out the agate stones inside. Then he fills a clay jar with the agate. Then he puts the lid on it. He covers the jar with charcoal. He keeps pulling the bellows. The temperature is raised to about 1,200 degrees. The agate begins to be heat treated. After that, the heated agate is taken out. It is poured into a stone funnel. It is hammered again and again until it becomes small granules. Then it is put into a small ceramic jar. After constant grinding, it finally turns into powder. An appropriate amount of water is added. It is stirred until well mixed. The top layer is taken. More water is added and it is ground again. It finally becomes extremely fine particles. It is left to settle for a while. The water on top is poured off. Only the agate residue remains. It is placed into gauze. It is tied tightly with a string. It is hung on a tree to drain the water. Next, chestnut wood is fully turned into ash. The chestnut ash is taken out. The large particles are removed. The chestnut ash is
Leela was extremely lucky when she was an infant. Every time she encountered danger, there was always a pair of hands that helped her escape it. When she was in elementary school, tentacles would bring her cookies. Even when she reached adolescence, with braces on her teeth and freckles all over her face, someone would still send her gifts through the sewer. There was always an invisible person who remembered her birthday. When she grew up into an adult, that big hand would still thoughtfully tuck her bed sheets around her. The truth behind all of this was finally about to be revealed. As an adult, Leela found a dilapidated cabin where the walls were covered with information about her. Just as they were about to escape through the sewer, they suddenly saw two mysterious figures. The girl thought they might know something, so she closed the escape hatch and jumped down. After climbing out of the sewage, she cornered the two mysterious people in the dilapidated cabin. She pointed a gun at them and demanded an explanation. During the scuffle, she accidentally pulled off the bracelet from one of the men's hands. To her shock, this bracelet was exactly the same as the one she had worn since she was a child. She became even angrier, convinced that these two mutants had killed her parents. Seeing that they remained silent, Leela decided to pull the trigger. At the very last moment, Fry suddenly appeared and tore off the mysterious people's hoods. When she saw the two familiar faces, Leela finally...
Welcome to luxury.
This is the quietest room in the world. As long as you stay in the room for an hour, you can win a prize of $5 million. Seems simple, but no one succeeds. This challenge is extremely difficult.
This homeowner called us because their sewer kept backing up. And this time, it had been backed up for over 10 days. When I checked our records, I saw something that didn't make sense. We'd already been out to this house 3 times in just 7 months for the same problem. That should not be happening. So I knew something bigger was going on. I started with a Milwaukee chain snake. Every previous clog was marked as a soft blockage. So I wanted to try that first before pulling out the heavy drum machine. But eventually, I had no choice. This line fought me the entire way. The cable just kept pushing and pushing. Nearly 70 feet in, it still wouldn't break loose. It didn't finally clear until the cable reached the city sewer. Once the line was open, I ran the camera to see what was really happening. And trust me, what I found wasn't shocking at all. Right after the clean-out, the pipe transitions into cast iron. The house was built in the 1970s, so that checks out. Here's the good news. No breaks, no bellies, no collapsed pipe. Just decades of buildup. So much buildup, actually, that my camera kept getting coated in nasty gunk. I had to send the chain snake back down just to clear a path so I could keep inspecting. Lucky me, I already had it off the truck. Now this is usually where someone tries to sell. A $30,000 full sewer replacement. Cut the driveway, replace everything to the street. Yeah, no, not happening. Even though a new line could help, it was absolutely not necessary. And I wasn't about to waste this customer's money. Instead, I traced the entire sewer line. And that's when I found something interesting. There was a second clean-out, hidden under a car in the driveway. It came off a combo fitting, and it was backed up too. I cleared it, ran the camera again, and checked that section thoroughly. One last thing was missing, though. A city cleanout near the easement. They don't have one, and even though there is a cleanout nearby, the city won't use it if there's ever an issue on their side. I explained everything to the homeowner, and gave them the option to install one later, if they want. For now, here was the smartest.
This guy's a genius. Grandpa never told anyone else this. To tie a trailer knot that won't loosen, use Grandpa's old school method. It stays tight even if the rope breaks. Next, clip a bottle cap to the edge of a paint bucket, slide in the roller, and scrape hard so the paint flows back into the bucket. If a tripod spring is too tight, slide a sleeve through the spring, press the bracket, and pry it up to assemble it easily. To avoid oil spills, poke a hole in a plastic bottle, fit it onto the drum, and use it to guide the liquid. If a faucet freezes in winter, tie a candle under the steel pipe, light it, and the heat will make water flow again. To join two pipes of the same size, make small cuts on both ends and twist them together for a tight fit. If a pipe leaks and there's no plug, press a coin with a seal ring over the joint to stop the leak for now. Use a round disc to trace the curve, cut along the line, and get a perfect fit. If you didn't learn, save and watch later. This guy's...
What are the three
A rescue dog
This girl had always dreamed of building a huge castle out of snow, and the result of her construction surprised everyone on the internet, and now she has become very popular. Initially, this girl cleared a surface for construction and began to create giant snow blocks using her special snow mold. So, on the first day, she made 200 giant snow blocks, but the next day, she marked out the area and used string to mark the walls, and immediately began to build the first layer of snow blocks. On the second day, she was able to build walls almost 1.5 meters high, but most importantly, she built everything herself, and the result will definitely surprise you. The next day, she made the walls even...
Playing from T-mcbride.
Hola. Fuck you, Roger. Let it ring. Hola. What's up, Roger?
Hello?
Hello. You hear me now? Oh. You stop being silly. I know it's you, Roger. That's. Oh, you shut up, Roger. Nothing, just playing games right now. Nice. What you been up to today? Yes, I had. Yes, I had them before, and